Okay, Chapter 30, Impairment Loss. This is the last part of tangible asset, discussion on tangible assets under fixed assets. And after this, balik tayo sa topic ng investment. Kasi yung intangible assets naman is para din siyang yung investment. Ang investment is form ng intangible asset. Pero we will focus on starting chapter 15 to I think it's chapter 22. So may 7 chapters pa tayong bubunuin for investment. So dito sa impairment of asset, para din siyang depreciation. Pero dito, difference is that yung depreciation kasi it's based on systematic allocation of the cost of the asset. Pero dito, impairment of asset is we are checking if the asset is impaired or meron ba siyang decrease in its value on a certain period of time. Tapos, ang technical knowledge, wala pa, hindi ko pala isinama. Ang impairment, this is a fall in market value of an asset so that the recoverable amount is now less than the carrying amount in the statement of financial position. So, para siyang kabaliktaran ng revaluation surplus. Basic principle is that in the impairment of asset is relatively straightforward. There is an established principle that an asset shall not be carried at above the recoverable amount. So, importante na yan. Hindi natin i-record yung asset above its recoverable amount. An entity shall write down the carrying amount of an asset to the recoverable amount if the carrying amount is not recoverable in full. If the carrying amount, kapag yung carrying amount is mas malaki kaysa sa recoverable amount, ibig sabihin, merong pagbaba sa value ng asset. Meron tayong impairment loss. Kasi yung nasa book natin is mataas, pero yung current purchase price niya or the recoverable amount is much lesser. The asset shall therefore be reduced by an amount of the impairment loss. Okay. Accounting for impairment. In this regard, there are 3 main accounting issues to consider. So, yung indication of possible impairment, kailangan merong proof na reliable na magsasabi na merong impairment. Measurement of the recoverable amount, and then kung yung sa number 1, edi sabi, possible po may impairment, reliable siya. Tapos sa tanungin, magkano? Kailangan makompute kung magkano. And then saka natin i-recognize yung impairment loss. Indication of impairment loss, kailangang i-assess ng company kada reporting period kung yung asset ba ay impaired. So, titignan sa fair market, ano kaya, mababa or mataas? Is it too material to consider or too immaterial? The entity shall estimate the recoverable amount of asset. However, irrespective of whether there is an indication of impairment, the entity shall test the intangible asset with an indefinite useful life or an intangible asset not yet available for use for impairment annually. Okay. The events and changes in circumstances that lead to an impairment of asset may be classified as external or internal sources of information. Kapag external, syempre galing sa labas ng company yung information. Kapag internal, nangyari lang sa loob yung nakaka-apekto sa impairment noong asset. At saka nilay down dyan yung external sources. So, in-specify lang. Mapapansin nyo, halos dapat may significant change. Ito, external, makikita nyo may competitor. Tapos, merong mga legality, technologies na nagbabago, economic environment, pwede mabago yung customer taste. Before, ang uso ay sa technology, mas uso noon yung, paano ba yan? Ano ba mga biglang nababago na phase out? Anong pag-phone ba? Pag-modem. So, sa technological, usually, before ang modem, may mga postpaid. Pero ngayon, nagkakaroon na ng modem for prepaid Wi-Fi. So, nagkakaroon ng changes sa customer taste. So, kung gusto ng customer na depende lang kung maglo-load lang siya kung kailan niya kailangan kasi magtipid or lagi siyang gumagamit ng net kaya siya magpo-postpaid. So, depende din. Increase in interest rate, yan, market capitalization, lahat yan is based sa outside forces, outside forces, outside the company. Nasa labas ng company, parang mga third party related dyan. Sa internal sources naman is within the company, yung sa asset, yung physical damage sa kanya will cause its obsolescence. Ibig sabihin, yung changes doon sa asset pwedeng maka-epekto materially to its physical damage or it will affect na hindi na talaga siya magagamit, obsolescence. Significant change in a matter of extent, the asset is used with an adverse effect on the entity. An example dyan is yung parte siya ng restructuring or held for sale or asset is idle. Yung nag-i-impair siya kasi yung buong business is nag-organizational restructuring. So, kumbaga dati ay manufacturing siya ng beer. Tapos, in the long run, binago, kailangan mag-manufacture na lang siya ng medicine. So, yung machine mo for production ng beer, hindi mo na siya magagamit. Kasi nag-restructure na yung business to produce medicine. So, yun yung sa restructuring. Kapag held for sale, yung bibenta na siya, i-consider natin yung impaired ba to. Kasi mamaya ibenta natin siya at a price kung anong nasa book natin. Yung pala, iba na yung value na talaga. And idle kapag hindi ginagamit. So, idle siya for 2 years kasi ng 1 year kasi ng pandemic. Tapos nung gagamitin na siya, i-check kung impaired ba yung asset. Yan, economic performance. Tapos, external and internal sources of information are not exhaustive. The entity may identify other indications. Ibig sabihin, hindi lang nakakulong dyan yung sources of possibility of impairment. Measurement, the recoverable amount of an asset is the fair value less cost of disposal or value in use, whichever is higher. Sinestate sa problem kung magkano yung FBLCD, less cost of disposal, FVLCD, versus VIU, kung ano yung mas mataas, whichever is higher. Kung mabalikan nyo yung inventory, ang nandun ay LCNRV, lower of cost, or net realizable value, yun, lower yon. Cost tsaka net realizable value dito, FBLCD, VIU, H, higher, whichever is higher. Fair value less cost of disposal. Paano siya nakukuha? Yan ay yung fair value aalamin natin sa market. Tapos yung cost of disposal niya, aalamin din natin kung magkano yung possible cost na ating bubunuin para i-dispose yung asset na yon. Okay? Excluding the finance cost and income tax expense. So, ano lang siya, diretso lang siya sa lahat ng items directly connected doon sa asset. Yan. Ito yung minamabilis ko lang, pwede nyo naman basahin. Ang importante kasi sa impairment loss is alam natin kung paano yung pagko-compute kasi mas mahaba yung discussion dito compared sa revaluation. Yan. Fair value hierarchy. Yun yung level 1, level 2, level 3. Itong level 1, 2, 3, tinatanong siya sa theory, part ng theory ng intermediate accounting. Okay? So, the quoted prices in an active market for identical asset, yan yung level 1 inputs. Sa level 2, observable either directly or indirectly. So, level 3 is unobservable inputs for the asset. So, yung level niyan is nakadepende gaano siya ka-visible sa market. Okay. Sa level 1 kasi, yung presyo is based doon sa similar type of asset, identical asset. So, as is na kung ano yung quoted price sa active market, yun na yung fair value na gagamitin. Pangalawa, sa level 2, paano kung walang fair value? What we will find is any similar item sa hindi active na market. Kumbaga, meron lang missing element doon sa level 1. Dito kasi sa level 1 may active market, merong identical asset sa active market. Yan. And reliable yung amount. Dito kasi, although may similar asset, hindi naman active yung market. O kaya ay may market pero walang identical or super kaparehas ng asset na yon. So, papasok siya sa level 2. Ibig sabihin, kung wala nito, gagamitin natin level 2. Pero kung parehas meron yan, ibig sabihin, ang gagamitin natin is level 1. Kaya yan hierarchy, alin yung uunahin mo, alin yung ipaprioritize to use as best evidence of presence of the fair value. Ngayon, level 3 is walang masyadong makita na similar asset sa certain market. Yung para bang walang market, wala ding similar asset. What the company will do is it will develop the best available information for entities owns data. Active market and principal market. Ang active market, merong sufficient regularity and volume of the asset to provide pricing information. Kapag principal market, siya yung may greatest volume and level of activity ng asset na yon. Okay? Kumbaga, ang principal asset, kung ito yung malaking market, yan yung active market. Sa gitna niyan, merong principal market. Nandyan yung pinakamadaming transaction na nangyayari. Okay? Parang kumbaga sa Luzon, not sa NCR, yung principal, andun yung capital of the Philippines. Sabi nung iba, Manila. Tapos sabi nung iba, QC. Depende kung anong capital ba ng economy or ano ba. Pero Manila, parang ganun. So, next, market participants are the buyer and sellers who are independent or unrelated parties. Kumbaga, hindi sila magkakilala, pero willing buyers and willing sellers sila. And they are knowledgeable of, yan, nasabi ko na pala yung willing sa number 3. Independent, knowledgeable, and willing. So, pag nakalagay sa problem, independent or related, yan ay independent or related, mali agad kasi dapat unrelated. Having reasonable understanding. Okay. Next is value in use. Ano yung value in use? 'Di ba, may present value. Meron din tayong tinatawag na present value or the discounted value of future net cash flow. Okay. Anong ibig sabihin, ma'am, ng net cash flow? Kumbaga, yung asset, ginagamit natin to generate income. And to generate income, to prove na merong income, merong dumadating na cash, merong cash flow. Na kapag meron tayong income under matching principle, meron tayong outflow, ibig sabihin merong expense. Yan. Kaya net cash flow, future net cash flow. This cash flow are pre-tax, and pre-tax discount rate is applied in determining the present value. Paano kina-calculate ang value in use? So, yung value in use, kino-compute yan. Una, yung cash flow projections, kailangan malaman natin na ito ay kinompute, merong supporting assumption, tsaka dapat reasonable yung assumption na yon. Tapos, yung cash flow projections na binigay sa atin, i-check natin kung siya ay most recent projection. Kasi mamaya 2021, pero ang ginamit na cash flow projection is nung 1990 pa. So, dapat mga bandang 2015 onwards. Cash flow projection beyond 5 years shall be estimated by extrapolating the 5-year projections using steady or declining growth each subsequent year unless an increasing rate can be justified. Estimates of future cash flow do not include, hindi kasama yung future cash flow to the restructuring, tapos hindi rin kasama yung improvement, hindi rin kasama ang financing activities kasi we are focused on operating activities, and hindi rin kasama income tax kasi we are talking about pre-tax, ibig sabihin before pre-tax, wala pang tax na kinoconsider na cash flows. Ang illustration dyan is, assuming yan yung binigay ng problem. Yung machinery is merong 5-year useful life, 2,000 expired, 2 years expired na. So, makikita nyo meron dyang 2 million AD. Ang carrying amount niya as of this time is 3 million. And due to obsolescence and physical damage, the machinery wait lang. Okay, doon na tayo sa sample.